Well, this is
okay.
Piet, Termonia. Very good. And he will tell us about weather and climate modeling.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't have a presentation, but I go through the 4 points that one sent me by memory. So first, I situate a bit what I'm doing, where I come from. I had my PhD in '97 here in Leuven, in the group of Twan, and then I spent 2 years in Torino as a postdoc, and then in '99 I was not really convinced that I would do this for the rest of my life, and there were some other personal issues where I decided, which made that I decided to look for something else. So I applied for a few jobs, and one of them was in the Meteorological Institute in Belgium. And at first it was for a job on satellite data, which I didn't get, but even during the interview they told me that they had probably something better for me. So and that job was about computer modeling, at that point, to say how the transition was, it was quite scary, because you think you are going to quit the field that you are familiar with and do something else. But at that point, when I started working on that, there was a new consortium being created by one of the big icon in meteorology, and he was planning these activities in the RMI. And the first time I met him, I convinced myself, well, actually there is enough challenge here to proceed with this. So then I make a short overview of how my career went. I became very active on this. In 2008 I became the head of division, of the modeling division, and then later in 2010 I became the head of the department of research of the RMI. And that time, this person, Jean-François Gelin was his name, decided that he would stop with his activities, and he handed this consortium, which was created by that time, to me, which was the second scary moment, because this was a collaboration of something like 150 people. And so I have been doing this for 5 years now. At first I discovered a lot of skeletons in the cupboards. I worked hard, and I can say that after 5 years I feel quite confident about this. So that's my situation now. So how was the transition? It was scary, but if now I look back on it, I can tell you I have absolutely not 1 second of doubt that I made the correct decision. In fact, yeah. So I think I made the correct decision at that time. I come to the third question now, which is about, let's say, the things that we heard here from the previous speakers, and that is probably for interest for you, all of you here. It's about what have you learned? What can you learn? How can you use what you learned as a string theorist in your further life? And I can describe a bit what Frank was saying, that I mean, there were terms mentioned like clearness of thought, problem solving, mindset, and in fact, I will maybe spend, my time is almost over, I will just spend a bit of time just to illustrate this point. In fact, if you look at what we are doing, modeling is not just one discipline, it's actually consists of many sub-disciplines. So it has to do with data assimilation, it has to do with solving equations, it has to do with thermodynamics, predictability, validations, and in each of these fields you have specialists, you have the system experts. And there is also a theoretical part in this, which we call the dynamics. And in fact, if you look at, let's say, in the people and the skills that we have there, we constantly lack people who can really work on the equations and on the numerics. And we have an explanation for this. And that is because these people are extremely flexible in solving all of the other problems. You will never notice that one person, for instance, who has a career, is a specialist in data assimilation, will suddenly switch to dynamics. But on the other hand, the dynamics people, If there is something urgent, a problem that has to be solved, you can just put them in charge quite quickly. So the thing I wanted to say, if you have skills that are theoretical, you go into the real world, I would estimate, at least in my domain, you have skills that are very highly on demand. And secondly, because you start to solve problems everywhere, you acquire some kind of an overview of the whole field, which is very, very broad. And then if people start to ask you for, let's say, to jump in, after a while they ask you more and more, and that automatically puts you in positions where you are the guy in the room who will come up with a solution. And that is probably, I think, the mechanism that leadership draws you into it, that you get drawn into leadership. So what I'm saying is that you have the skills for this. You have the skills to go into leadership. Not all of the people that I know that come from theory are interested in taking leadership, but if you want to do it, I think this, and if you find a situation where there's some of that required, I think leadership will find you at some point. So I think I'm already past my 5 minutes. It's a bit improvised, this is what I was saying, but okay, this is basically what I wanted to pass to you.